This is my first public photography zine, The Sinking Sun. It's been a little over a year since I first released it, and today we're going to flip through it, share with you the thought process behind. I'll give you guys a bunch of tips if you're thinking about building your own book, and we'll see how I feel about it now. If you're looking to make your own photography projects in the future, this can be a great way to understand the creative process behind it. I'm not going to break down every single little thing in this book because that'd be no fun. It'd be better for you to look through, view, and interpret it yourself. That's art, right? But I will cover some points here and there, and we'll finish with a flip through. Let's begin. The viewing experience. Are hardcover or softcover books better? I've honestly found the opinions on this to be mixed. Some people tell me they like hardcover books because they feel more legit, solid, and professional. Others like softcovers because of the delicateness, the bendability, and the feeling. When I was thinking of this book, I initially imagined there to only be a softcover version. But I understood that some people would want a hardcover, so I went with two versions. A special edition hardcover and a first edition softcover. Each version is limited to a small number of copies. And for the finish, I chose a matte laminate. I found that this is softer, nicer to hold, and much more pleasing of a finish. Personally, I have an aversion to standard glossy finishes, so I tend to avoid those. The inside paper is satin. This is a semi-gloss paper that's good all around for photography. I personally think that glossy papers can be too shiny while matte papers don't always get the contrast right. So satin is a solid in-between choice. Materials are a very important factor when making a photography book. They affect the feel and experience a viewer has when opening and flipping through it. And sometimes this feeling can alter the impressions and understanding a viewer might get. So if you're thinking of making a book, order a sample pack and take some time to understand the materials you're using. It'll affect the viewing experience much more than you think. The most important image of your book. This is arguably the most important image of your book. It's the cover image, and it's the first thing people see. It's not only supposed to draw viewers in, but also give a sense of what the rest of the book is about. So oftentimes, it can be the most difficult part of making a photography zine. For The Sinking Sun specifically, I wanted to do something different. Most standard book layouts have the text and titles on the front, which are maybe mixed in with some images. But I thought, wouldn't it be cool if I stuck a big, large, immersive sunset on the front and had the title on the back? This probably affected whether people clicked on it or not, but I was okay with that because I still thought it was a cool idea. So that's what I went with. Looking back on it now, I probably could have added text or a title up in this front area, but it wasn't what I envisioned back then. Now, the cover photo itself was an image I took roughly 2 years ago. And if I'm being honest, it was one of those once-in-a-lifetime sunsets. Because I haven't seen anything of that proportion, intensity, or vibrance since. The day itself had these large, contrasty clouds floating in the sky, pushed by a decent but not too strong wind. The colors were interesting as it started off flat and then the sky turned red as the sun began to set. It felt as if there was a storm coming, and the contrast between light and shadow gave it that extra drama. And as the sun reached the horizon line, rays of light shone through all different directions. Probably one of the best sunsets I've ever witnessed. Seriously, I might have teared up a bit. From that photo session, I got a ton of print-worthy shots like storm, smoke, and horizon, which became the cover photo. I felt like it was the perfect choice to be the cover of The Sinking Sun because it felt moody, dramatic, and epic. Creating a captivating intro. After the cover photo, a strong intro is next up in importance. Not only should it warm readers up, but it should captivate them in some way. Knowing this, I decided to start off strong, grab the reader's attention, and try to hold this. To do this, I used a montage of full bleed sunsets, each colorful and immersive in their own way. They also preview different later chapters in the book, which have more photos from each of those individual days. That way, as the reader reaches the later chapters, they'll get a sense of familiarity, full circleness, and closure. I honestly don't know how effective this was, but that was the intent, at least. As for each individual chapter, you'll understand it more as we cover the text, themes, and we flip through it, but just understand this for now. For this book, each chapter is meant to progress the viewer in a different way. Chapter 1 warms the viewers up and gets them acclimated to the topic. And as you progress through the book, each chapter poses a different set of ideas, questions, thought experiments, paired with appropriate images to develop the theme in the viewer's head. For example, Chapter 2 is about the young and the old, and the difference in how we think as we age. When you're young, you think you have time, and when you're old, you realize you never did. These panels are paired with teenagers over here, a child, and his father over there. These matching images help get the point across, and the chapter itself fuels the overall theme of The Sinking Sun. And that's how I built each chapter, with the intent to progress the story and get people to understand not only visually, but through words as well. Most photographers don't understand theme. This might be one of the more challenging aspects of building a photography book, because as photographers, we just want to take all our good images and throw them together and voila, it's done. But that is the exact opposite of what we want to do when making a book. No one wants to just flip through your portfolio. That's why when making a book, we need some sort of a theme, a central idea around the body of work that our images can match, add to, or revolve around. Without this, your book will have nothing holding it together, and it'll just be a loose set of images with no point to it. So that's the challenge of book building, and it's a completely different skill than just being able to take good or nice looking photos. Because once you begin brainstorming themes, you'll quickly realize that not every good photo you've taken will match that theme. And actually, very few of my best images do. This raises the bar for your photography, because now you not only need to take images that are good enough on their own, but also images that match the very thing you're building. And more requirements means more difficulty. This 100% happened to me when I was building the sinking sun. I thought I had a bunch of images that worked and fit, immersive sunsets and cloud formations. But as I built the book, I realized that so many images which were good on their own didn't work or fit with the book. And these images had to connect in some way, or else they were just taking up retail space on the pages. So I had to cut a bunch of images I liked to keep the theme consistent, and if I didn't have enough for a set to fill the chapter and transitions, those images were cut. Now, how do you actually go about picking a theme? Personally, I think it can be as complex or as simple as you want it to be. You can make it about this big, dramatic, life-changing story, or just about stuff you like taking pictures of. For the sinking sun specifically, I had to ask myself some important questions. I knew I wanted to make a zine out of all these aesthetic, immersive, and beautiful sunsets, but why? What was so appealing about them? Why did I feel so connected to this idea? And what even is the sinking sun? As I kept working on it, I discovered what it is I wanted to create. The sinking sun is not simply about nice looking sunsets. It's about time, our most finite resource, and our relationship with it. Day in and day out, we spend our time in various ways. And some people reach the end of their lives fulfilled and happy knowing they spent their time well. Others full of misery and regret knowing they wasted a lot of it. This idea that nothing lasts forever and we have to use our time well is consistent throughout the book, through all the images, the questions, and even the experience of looking through the book. That's what I believe everyone is feeling when we go out and look at a sunset. We're all experiencing the finiteness of life. Even though we don't know each other, even though we live different lives, we share that same feeling. I don't know if I was able to articulate it properly enough or show it well through my work, but that's the sinking sun. And I'm hoping that the people who did go through it, that message was communicated to them either clearly or subconsciously, and led them to start asking the bigger questions of life. What am I going to do? Who am I going to do it with? And when am I going to do it? And when the sun sets, am I happy with how things end? That's theme. 1-year thoughts, lessons, and takeaways. After flipping through the zine roughly 1 year later, I'm reminded of all the thoughts and decisions I had when making it. I'm reminded of all the days I went out to take photos, the struggles, the frustrations, the back and forths between drafts, and the deleting of a lot of images. And looking back on it, there are a few minor things I would change now, for sure. And there are things I could have done to make it better, I guess. But overall, this was the best I could have done given the person I was and the skill I had at the time. And although I could arguably make a better version now, there are a few intangibles that could not have been changed. That being the essence and feelings of what I was creating at the time. Back then, I was so locked into that time, those images, and those themes. And the me now is simply a different person. So undoubtedly, if I made it again, it'd be a completely different book. So the biggest takeaway, I guess, is no matter how ready or unready you feel, no matter how much better you think you can do it later, no matter how, make the thing now. Art, inspiration, motivation, intent, creativity, they're all perishable. And if you wait too long twiddling your thumbs, it won't be there anymore. Or maybe it'll be there, but it'll surface in a completely different way. So without sounding too spiritual, because that's not what we're trying to do here, creative energy is temporary. And you've got to use it while it's here. Because even if the end result isn't something perfect, there will still be those few aspects about it that you'll sit back and wonder later, how did I make that? And I think that's a pretty cool feeling. So if you got something you want to make, whether it be a photography project or whatever, make it now. It'll be better in the time you're thinking about it, and those feelings won't last forever, which is ironically a big theme of the book. Anyways, thanks for sitting with me through this. I hope you found it interesting or learned something useful today. If you did, please share it with a friend who might also be interested in this video. You can also learn more and build a solid foundation with photography in Photography Essentials. Check it out, it's free. And if you want to grab a copy of The Sinking Sun, links are down below. We're out of the pre-order 11x14 prints, but we still have soft covers and a few hardcover copies left. You'll also get all the other little print inclusions as well. So thanks as always for watching. I'll see you in the next video. Have a great day. Peace.